What were the TV highlights of 2022?
Interesting question.
It is indeed, and it must mean it's that time of year.
Indeed, the end of the year.
The end of the year, and we're back.
Yes.
After some time away.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yeah, indeed. We've been off of your airwaves for the best part of 3 months, but we've returned to do our usual, well, I say usual, I'm not sure we've ever done one before, but sort of a roundup of the previous 12 months.
I think we did one last year.
I think we did, but we wouldn't have done the previous year because we didn't have a podcast.
No, that's true. That's true.
So this is the second one then of our highlights of the year, and this is the 2022 version. And anyway, I'm Mark.
And I am Lewis. It's a pleasure.
It is a pleasure to be back. It does feel like it's been a long time, doesn't it? So, how are we going to do this, my faithful companion?
Faithful companion. We are going to split everything into categories and look at the ways that TV has evolved across the year. It's been quite a busy, exciting year, hasn't it?
And we're both going to award our favourite show from each category.
Yes.
I think, if we remember to do that.
Yes.
So, should we just launch in then?
Yeah.
Because there's quite a lot to get through. There's been a lot of good shows, hasn't there, really? And it's funny because in many respects, it felt like we were sort of catching up on good shows after the period of the COVID pandemic.
Definitely.
Where a lot of things were slowed down in terms of production, and then eventually all hit the screens.
Definitely. The entertainment industry has been hampered.
It has indeed. But what it did mean is we got a whole load of good stuff all at the same time. So what are our categories today?
So, we've got thrillers, we've got fantasy, we've got superheroes, we've got historical stuff, we've got science fiction, and we've got horror, and a bit of crime as well.
Oh, there we go. So lots of categories. What's our first category on the show tonight?
So, the thriller.
The thriller, okay. And our nominees are?
Our nominees are Slow Horses, Severance, and Blackbird.
There we go. 3 shows. I've only seen 2 of them.
Okay.
I've not seen Severance, but Slow Horses. Well, we've been treated with Slow Horses actually because we've had 2 series of that released this year, haven't we?
Yeah.
And Blackbird, which was a real surprise, I think.
Yeah. So, Slow Horses.
Yep.
We've watched quite a bit of the second series now.
Yep.
What's your verdict?
Do you know what I think I think I really enjoyed the first series of Slow Horses. The characters are really good in it. It's got Gary Oldman, and you can never go too far wrong with Gary Oldman in it. But do you know what? I think I actually prefer this second series than the first one.
Yeah.
You have to excuse me, everyone. I have got a bit of a cough, so I will be spluttering and generally sounding a little bit ill, I would imagine, throughout the whole of this podcast.
Absolutely fine. So, yeah, Slow Horses, an entertaining programme.
Really entertaining. Lots of it's really good at the shocks.
Yes,
you don't necessarily know what's going to come next. And as I say, the characters are really strong in it. The acting's really good in it, and it's just a really engrossing episode. It always has a good cliffhanger.
Yeah, a lot of very fleshed out characters, very fleshed out situations.
Yeah,
definitely one to watch.
Definitely. What did you think of the other 2 in this category?
So we talked about Blackbird earlier in the year on the podcast, and we gave it rave reviews.
We did indeed. Yeah.
Severance was the one you hadn't watched.
No. Tell me a bit about Severance.
So Severance is about
Sell it to me.
Yes. Severance is about a company that manages to split people's lives into their work lives and their personal lives.
Okay.
So their mind is split between those 2 situations.
Oh, okay.
So they're the most productive version of themselves.
Yeah.
So one half of them is working, one half of them is living their lives, but they can't remember that other half.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's quite interesting, actually, isn't it?
It's an intriguing
device. No, it is. Okay. Whereas Blackbird was just a good old-fashioned sort of serial killer. well, I say it was a good old fashioned. It wasn't really, because it was done quite differently. You didn't really see too much in terms of gruesome nature, did you? It was all really around the psychological element of it, really, as you found more and more out about the killer.
Which are always, I think, the best thrillers.
Yeah.
You know, the Silence of the Lambs, the Sevens. That sort of thing.
So, if you were awarding a winner from the thriller category, what would be your winner here?
So I would have to say, all three were very strong. All three were from Apple TV Plus, which is
that's interesting.
Which is proving to be probably one of the better services for original programming.
It is at the moment, isn't it? It's been quite a dark horse, really.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And
rather than a slow horse.
A slow horse.
Yeah.
It's a difficult choice because all three of them were brilliant programs.
Yeah.
I'd have to say those Slow Horses is a cut above the rest.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's just, you know, I said I've not seen Severance, but Blackbird was a really strong show. But I think what Slow Horses does is it's exciting, but it has a really good. It deals with humour in a really good way as well.
Definitely.
And the character, you know, the main character in it is just hilarious at times.
Yes, Lamb.
Yeah. So the winner of our thriller category for 2022 is Slow Horses.
It has to be.
Okay.
So, fantasy.
Okay. So there's been. Would you like to go through the nominees?
I should do. So fantasy is a genre you're more into than me, definitely.
Yeah.
So there's Lord of the Rings, The
Yeah.
Rings of Power, The Sandman, Wednesday, Werewolf. Actually, I'm skipping on to superheroes.
Oh, yeah.
But Lord of the Rings, Sandman, and Wednesday
Okay.
are fantasy categories.
And of course we have House of the Dragon, but neither of us have watched that yet, so it'd be unfair to actually include that. Okay. I've not seen Wednesday, so I'm intrigued to know what that's about.
So Wednesday is about the Addams family. So it's like a predecessor, a sequel to a sort of remake of that world.
Yeah.
I didn't see too much of it. I only saw the first episode.
I know people have been saying it was good. Did you agree?
It was interesting.
Yeah.
It was an intriguing first episode. Someone recommended it, and it was certainly very intriguing.
Okay.
Fantasy's never really been my bag.
No, indeed. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power.
Yeah, I wasn't too fond of the first two episodes.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
I think I enjoyed it without ever thinking it was worth the amount of money that was spent on it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it looked fantastic, but it wasn't the best show of all time.
No.
But I don't think they did a bad job of it. It was always going to be quite a challenge because Tolkien fans like myself are always very, very hard to please, even harder to please than Doctor Who fans.
Yes.
So it was, and by very nature of the fact they didn't have the rights to very much at all of Tolkien's world, they had a limited amount to really play with. And I think in the circumstances they did quite a good job with what they had.
Yeah.
So I think it will get better. I think it was a fairly strong ending to the first season after quite a slow build up to it. I think it will get better.
They've got 5 seasons planned.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see because I mean it wasn't a universal hit, was it?
No.
I mean, I think people will enjoy it more. I think part of it was the timing. I think it didn't work coming out at the same time as House of Dragon. I don't think.
No.
And I think it did have this big sort of money bag around its neck, which can be quite make it quite difficult. I think.
Yes.
So also in this category we had the Neil Gaiman comic strip. I think it is originally. Sort of turned into a series, and that's The Sandman. What did you make of this?
So we watched, I can't remember how many episodes we watched.
About 3 or 4, didn't we?
3 or 4. And it was, I think I enjoyed it more than you did. let's face it, because we found that it was different. It was not the sort of fantasy we're really into.
Yeah. I struggled with it a little bit. I quite liked the first episode, I think, if I remember rightly. But then after that, I didn't really. I wanted to like it more than I did like it.
Yeah,
It was one of those shows. But it's been very well received.
definitely. So, superheroes.
I got nominated for them first of all.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
of course. So, Lord of the Rings, The Sandman. Which one was better? Which one wins?
I mean, I wouldn't say that I was completely blown away with Lord of the Rings, but of the two that I've seen from that category, that was the stronger of them.
Yeah.
So I think it would have to be Rings of Power. I think it does show promise. I think it can be a lot. It can get a lot better.
So, superheroes.
Have you gone for one, by the
I
way?
haven't.
You're not
I
going to
keep
nominate one.
forgetting. So, I've got to nominate. It's a difficult choice.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, Sandman, wasn't too much of a fan of either, but I'd say the Sandman had some really creative ideas.
Yeah.
And it was generally more successful.
Okay. So into superheroes.
Into superheroes. So there's The Boys, there's She-Hulk, there's Umbrella Academy, and there's Peacemaker out of the ones we've watched. But let's go through them one by one.
Yeah, and Moon Knight, by the way.
I mean,
And whatever that one is.
and Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a disaster. So The Boys.
So we're into the third season of The Boys.
Mm.
First two were pretty goddamn knockout brilliant.
They were.
The third series didn't disappoint, I don't think. I think you felt the finale was a little bit of a, not a letdown as such, but probably a bit too ambitious.
A little bit. It crammed too much into the runtime.
Yeah.
However, it generally the third series was the best of the three. It was a tour de force of violence, but in a hysterical way.
Yeah.
And really outrageous, really great characters.
Yeah.
Billy Butcher is one of the best characters in modern TV.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay.
So, She-Hulk.
She-Hulk I wanted to like more than I did, but I did not like it. And actually, the first few episodes I was quite enjoying, just in the sort of it's on in the background sort of way.
Yeah.
You know, it was never going to be a hugely brilliant show, but it was quite easy just to stick on and watch.
Yeah. Marvel's efforts this year have been very dispensable, I think, surprisingly, but entertaining. It's not been as strong a year from them as 2021 was.
Yeah.
We also... Sorry.
So I was thinking, I liked She-Hulk, but then I got to a point where I watched one without you around, and it was awful. It was a really awful episode, and then I just never got motivated to watch the rest of it after that.
Did you watch the one with Daredevil in it?
No, I didn't know. No.
That was strange.
Yeah.
Very strange. So,
Okay.
Werewolf by Night was one of their other pieces.
That was a Marvel thing.
It was.
Okay, I don't know anything about this one, so enlighten me.
It was sort of a Moon Knight type thing. It was a bit of a gothic horror sort of short film. It was peculiar, but it managed to capture the attention, capture the imagination.
Yeah.
It was about werewolves.
Okay.
A werewolf sort of creature.
You can't always tell these days, because some things have a really bizarre sort of titles to them.
They do. We also watch Moon Knight.
Yeah. Which, if ever a show started really good and really filled with a lot of promise, and then by the end of it, I couldn't finish it quick enough, and not in a positive way.
No.
It was just I hated it by the end of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely hated it. The actor really annoyed me. The main character.
Yeah, but
I found him really irritating.
yeah, which is surprising because Oscar Isaac is a really talented actor.
Yeah.
And we saw him his character not particularly not particularly sort of. Well, one half of them was sort of irritating. The other half was not really realistic.
Yeah, it just I don't know. It was a hard watch. I thought.
Yeah.
Moonlight. Okay. The Umbrella Academy.
The Umbrella Academy. I really enjoyed the latest season.
I did. I thought it tailed off a little bit. I thought the first half of it was probably the strongest season that we've had.
Yeah.
But it definitely did tail off. I don't think the ending, the last sort of few episodes were anywhere near as strong.
No. It tailed off, but generally it started off with the promise of possibly being better than the other two.
Yeah. I think it did. I think when you had all of the what were the other family called again?
The Sparrows.
The Sparrows. Yeah, but all the stuff with the Sparrows was really strong, but they didn't last long enough.
No, the second series still holds the crown, I think.
I think so. Yeah. And then finally,
I also watched Peacemaker this year, which
okay.
was a little bit like The Boys. I watched this in the summer, I think.
Is this sort of like DC's version of The Boys?
Yes.
Yeah.
James Gunn's got into a bit of controversy recently, I think.
Right.
With just being a bit. I don't really know what's gone on, but
Yeah.
he's got into a bit of controversy, which I don't know whether he deserves it, because he's done Guardians of the Galaxy and Peacemaker, and they're incredible.
Right. Yeah.
Pieces of superhero works, but again, a bit like The Boys, it's really dark.
Yeah.
Sometimes the humour sort of misfires.
Okay. Because The Boys very rarely misfires, does it, with its humour?
It sometimes comes across as a little bit cringy, which is something that The Boys never does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So out of the superhero category, what would be your winner for 2022?
I'd have to say it is a difficult choice, because I'd say The Boys and Peacemaker actually were really strong.
Yeah.
The Boys remains the best.
Yeah, it's just such a good show to watch, isn't it?
It is.
Such a good show to watch. So I'd agree with you.
Yeah.
Should we do this category next?
Yes, of course. The comedies.
Okay. So what do we have in the comedy category?
We have Russian Doll.
Yeah.
We have Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
We have Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah.
And we have It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Okay. So I've only watched one of these, so my winner's going to be fairly easy.
Yes. Let's talk about. I mean, we talked about Russian Doll a little bit earlier in the year on the podcast.
Yeah.
What drew you in?
I think the first series of Russian Doll is really original. It's a very timey-wimey sort of show. The main actress in it is hilarious.
Yeah.
And she's still really strong, isn't she, in this series as well? And it's equally as timey-wimey as the first one. It just hasn't quite got the same sparkle about it. But it was still a good, enjoyable show.
Yeah, very enjoyable, very funny. The time jump wasn't quite as compelling as the time loop concept.
Yeah.
However, very talented cast.
Yeah.
Very talented writing. Very clever.
Yeah. Good music again.
Definitely.
So, what about the others in this category? Because I've not seen any of these.
So, Only Murders in the Building. Brilliant show.
Mm-hmm.
It's got Steve Martin and Martin Short in it, who were stars from yesteryear.
I didn't realise Steve Martin was still doing anything.
He is.
Okay.
And we've got pop star Selena Gomez as well.
Yeah.
And the three of them team up to solve murders and investigate cases. It's sort of a serialised programme.
What platform's this show on?
It's Disney Plus.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's very, very funny.
Yeah.
Very vibrant. Very silly, but in the best possible way.
Yeah.
It's just a very exciting, fun, vibrant programme that is suitable for all ages.
Yeah. Okay. And what else have we got in here? Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso. I watched the first series of this and haven't really caught up to watch the rest of them.
Okay.
But it